I'm going iced out for this episode of Patriot Garage. How we going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Patriot Garage. You can see today that I'm actually wearing white, and there's a very good reason I'm wearing white today. If you go back through the past 5 years probably worth of content, I think you'll struggle to see me wearing a white shirt. I actually didn't even have one in my cupboard. My cupboard's just all black, but I'm going iced out for this episode of Patriot Garage. You can see right here beside me, I've got the brand spanking new DJ 2500 Ram truck. Now, this is the heavy duty Ram truck. This ain't one of those, you know, little Rams. This is the big girl for Australia. Now, these ones here that are coming into Australia, we're only getting them in Australia with the 6'4" tub. In the United States, you can buy an 8-foot tub. And if we cut back to earlier seasons of Patriot games, I had an 8-foot tub dually, which is where I got the idea to do a white one. In Oklahoma, USA, behind me, Patriot Camper's latest toy, our new tow rig. Mate, what do we got?
We started with a 2017 Ram 1-ton dually and basically did a full build on it, replaced almost everything, started from scratch.
Like everything, we can't leave anything alone.
Right.
The changes from the new model 2500 compared to all of the other 2500s that I've owned is this thing is just light years ahead. Now, fundamentally, when it comes to chassis and drivetrain, they've kept everything pretty much the same. So you got the 6.7 Cummins in there, the 1152 Newton meters of torque. Now, if you know anything about torques, that's a lot.
So much torque, the chassis twisted coming off the line.
I don't think there's anything else that's available in the Australian market in a passenger vehicle that comes like that out of the box. And for that reason, engine-wise, I've never, ever modified one of my 2500 Rams. So you go back to the first big Ram build that we did, the black SUPERAM, all the way through to my silver last DT model, no exhaust, no computer. They just don't need them. It's just as simple as that. The big thing with the 2500 over the 1500 that you would want to consider when you're making that choice is towing capacity. So here in Australia, on a gooseneck, you can run up to 8 ton, but on a standard hitch, you can obviously go 4.5 ton. In the US, the rating on these things are insane. So my dually, which is fundamentally exactly the same engine, exactly the same gearbox, bigger diff, but same chassis, we were rolling that thing down the highway at 26 ton with our 46 foot gooseneck on the back. And yeah, you feel it, but you don't feel it in the way that you would expect that you'd feel it. Now, I think I've said in other videos, when you consider what you try and get out of, you know, let's say a Land Cruiser, I'm not picking on Land Cruisers, but let's say a 79 series, you want a coil rear end. That's one of the biggest mods that you'll make straight away. Everybody's doing the power upgrades that are trying to get to that sort of torque. Hard to get 1,000 Newton meters plus out of a VDJ and keep it reliable. You've got a 5-speed manual transmission, no good for towing those sorts of big weights. This thing here out of the box comes with everything that you need. I've done something a little bit different with this one though. This one here, we're gonna really use as a workhorse, and we're gonna really use this 2500 specifically what it was built for. Now, if we have a look at some of the footage that you guys have seen over the years, what I've achieved in a 2500, when we first bought that 2500, I copped a lot of flack on social media here in Australia about, oh, it's an American truck, they're not capable, we'll never go anywhere that a Land Cruiser does, they're not reliable. Well, everybody's changed their tune now, haven't they?
Well, well, well. How the turntables.
Because the sales that Ram are experiencing now in Australia, because all of that's been proven, is just astronomical. So they are a capable four-wheel drive. They are a really capable four-wheel drive. But what they're really designed and built for in the United States, they're designed to work. These things are built to work. They're built to haul, they're built to tow, they're built for long touring trips. And you'll see as we take a walk around this one, I haven't gone to town on the modifications. I want to keep the comfort, I want to keep the drivability, and I want to keep the use in this thing that it's really designed for. I'm not even putting a Peacock tray on this thing, believe it or not. Fundamentally, this car's almost done as far as the build's concerned. There's a couple of little changes that I still want to make, but I'll run you through them in this video. Let's get into it. We'll go through the usual. I'll do the walk around the whole vehicle. We'll check out the interior. We'll see what's changed, what's new. I'll explain all the modifications that I've done. So sit back and relax and enjoy, I think, one of the first videos that you're gonna see on the tube on the brand new DJ Ram Trucks Australia 2500. So let's start with the look of this thing now. If you follow Patriot games, you know this is really not my style, but I wanted something completely different than anything else that I've ever built before. We've built a lot of Ram 2500s for customers, you know, through Patriot campers, and I've owned, I think, 3 or 4. I do turn them over quite regularly. We do give our cars a hard time, and I like to keep them nice and fresh. But anyway, getting back to the point, you'll see this thing has been completely iced out. I'm really going for the mall crawler look here, to be perfectly honest with you. I want something a little bit different, but I wanted something that looked really, really clean, that suited the purpose of what I'm doing with this thing. Again, I'm not intending on using this one on any of the big hardcore four-wheel driving trips. Keep an eye out for the upcoming season of Patriot games. If you really want to see what a Ram 2500 is capable of, I'm going to show you that they are one of the most badass off-road trucks that I've ever owned. I've done some things with that 2500 that I think 2500s just weren't designed to do. But this one's not going to be all about that. So starting with the front, you'll also know I'm definitely not a fan of chrome. I'm not a chrome guy. First thing I do on any car that I ever buy that has chrome is get rid of it. But for this one here, I've left little elements of chrome, and I'll run you through the paintwork that we've done on this as we go around. But the paintwork that I've done has been really, really intricate. Like the whole grill's been unpicked, little pieces have been selected. A lot of thought has gone into this. So you can see the bars white, but you can see the mix of the chrome on the Ram badge, and then the white in the grill. A really big thing that I'll point out actually between the old model and the new model, I might get shot for saying this, but the headlights in the last model of Ram, I don't know what they were thinking. They were yellow light, they were quite dim. And the first thing that I would have done with an old, or would have suggested with a DT model 2500 would be put a light bar on it, because the lights weren't that good. No need on the new model. Nice white light, bright, big projection on it. There is absolutely no need for us to put a light bar on this thing for our highway touring. We try and avoid driving in the night, especially when we're towing the trophy truck as well, which is the primary job of this truck here. Because it does get a little bit dangerous and the boys get tired, and we do big days on the road. You can see I've taken the SUPERAM plates off the silver truck. I've had them from my first 2500, and every 2500 that I've owned, those plates have gone through. I think they're in fitting of the build. But that's about the front end. You can see it's a whole new look. It's a whole new style. I love it. I think it looks so much more modern than the old truck. But I think you'll agree the white and the little elements of chrome are pretty cool. You can see we've even gone to the extent of even, you know, this is typically a chrome badge in the 2500. We've painted out all of these, then painted all the red in there in the heavy duty. Obviously you want everyone knowing you're driving the 2500 and it's not just a 1500. We've painted out all the mirrors. Good feature, handy feature. You've got towing mirrors as well, so there's no need for extended mirrors. Again, that's another modification that you would make to any touring car if you're towing on the regular. So when you've got something out on the back, the mirrors just flip out. You can see that I've painted the Ram badge down in here, painted out all the door handles. But the best part of the paint that I think we've done is at the back. I'll show you that in a little bit. You'll also notice here that I've got black rims on there. Now, I've been waiting, due to the supply chain issues with COVID, I've been waiting on a machine set of wheels coming out of the States for 6 or 8 weeks now. We wanted to get this video out and show you guys. I'm putting it on social media. We're getting a lot of questions, but that's gonna be one of the biggest changes that I'll make when my wheels finally arrive. These are some black wheels that actually come on my silver Ram. I had them lying around here, got rid of the chrome wheels, put the black ones on. They do look quite good, but still it just needs that little bit more mall crawler going on in there. Tyre size, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna run. I'll talk to the boys at Bob Jane when the wheels arrive, and we'll select the tyre, something that's gonna be not really aggressive again. This is set up for towing, it's set up for long distance touring. It's gonna do 99% of its life on tarmac, so I don't need a mud terrain or anything silly. Get rid of that road noise and make this thing ride the way it rides out of the factory, because the factory ride on this thing is just like, I don't, how do you explain it? I don't know how to explain it. You drive a factory car and then you drive something that's so heavily modified like my silver one, and this thing's just like bliss. Maybe I'm getting old, maybe the greys are starting to pop out. I don't know.
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
All right, so here's the Cummins, 6.7 turbo diesel. Probably not a lot to talk about in the engine bay because I haven't made any modifications. One thing I did forget to mention, power, 276 kilowatts. Doesn't sound like much, does it? It's not, but it's all about the torque. So once again, 1,152 Newton meters. If you haven't driven one of these, you need to get into a Ram dealership. Go to one of your local Ram Trucks Australia dealerships and take one for a drive, because I'm telling you now, you will be so impressed. The only modification that you'll see in here, right up the back, is I've got the module in there for the amp research side steps that we installed. I got rid of the big chrome ones that come on the side. Actually, probably worth talking about as well, exhaust brake. So like a truck, these things have got an exhaust brake. So again, when you're towing, just helps slow the momentum of the car, which is a really good thing when you're towing. The side steps, we may as well talk about them while we're here. Pretty standard now, amp research side steps. The 2500 in Australia doesn't come with automatic side steps, I'm told, but the 1500 definitely does. In the rear end, I said before, we haven't changed, modified any suspension. I have no intentions of changing the suspension. The only thing that I have done is I've put in a set of helper airbags, just manual fill from Airbag Man. Say for example, if we run the trophy truck on the back, we've got, I don't know, let's call it 350 kilos of ball weight on the hitch, and then I go and put 4 fuel drums in here. That's another 800 odd kilos, which we did on the last trip up to the Dom River Dash where we won. Check out that episode. The thing didn't even sag a little bit in the back, and I was so surprised. But if we really want to load this up, I can put 10 pounds or 15 pounds in the airbags if I need to. And that'll just ensure that anything that I want to tow, any configuration, we're covered. You're gonna see here a white GME whip. Who would have ever thought that I would have bought a white GME whip? But again, really fits the style of this truck, that iced out look that we're going for. White whip, we've got a polished spring and a polished base on there as well. I've decided to mount this at the back again to keep the front of the truck very, very clean, but I have no intentions of putting a bull bar on here either. Now, coming around here, this is the part that I'm really, really most excited about. Look at that tail light. I'll be honest with you, I didn't come up with this on my own. I actually found a truck in the United States when I was looking for ideas. It came up on my Instagram. I can't even remember what the page was. So if you are the owner of the white truck in the US that has tail lights that look exactly like this, I'm really sorry I copied you. That's genuinely not my style most of the time, but you've done such a good job. Why reinvent the wheel?
I can't help it. It's so beautiful.
I've painted out all the smaller badges in the back and completely painted out the rear bumper as well. So you can see from the rear here, this thing has just got such a good looking ass on it. And leaving the Ram decal chrome to match the front grille and leave those little elements of chrome. When I do get my polish wheels in here, I think it's really gonna set this thing off. You can see the only other accessory that I've fitted in here, I've put in an Anderson plug, and there's my manual air fill for the 2 airbags in the back. So I can control that from left to right. Now the Ram 2500 and the 1500 do come with a factory brake controller. The new brake controllers in these things are pretty good. Typically speaking, and even with my silver Ram, I actually bypassed the factory brake controller and I put in a Red Arc Tow Pro. And the reason for that was the Red Arc Tow Pro, I'm so used to it and I trust it so much that I didn't want to go with another system. Now with this fully integrated, when I hook a trailer up onto the back and the Ram senses that a trailer's connected, it'll come up on the screen and it'll ask you exactly what you're towing. It'll make its own choice, but you can actually input the length of the trailer. So what happens there is all of your lane departure everything takes into account the length of your trailer. So say for example, if I start changing lanes, it'll sense if I'm towing that 6 metre trailer and I've input that into the dash, the lane departure will actually take into account for the trailer. So I know when I'm clear of another vehicle, if I'm going around them, I know when I can actually pull out and get around them and when I can pull back in front of them. And that's the reason why I've left the factory brake controller in this particular truck, and I absolutely love it, you know. Features of the Ram of the tub, check this out. So this is all standard stuff. So down in here, you got a little step on your remote control. Boom, how good's that? If you've come out to your car and you've got stuff in your hands, I know it might seem a little bit lazy, but it's these little things that make all the difference. Really easy to get up in the back of. But if we get the camera up in here, I think, so we might just stop for 1 second, get the camera up in here. Let's have a look at how cool this little setup that I've done in the back is. All right, so very cool little setup in the back. Now, typically, and I'll tell you the reason why I'm so excited about this, the brand new Red Arc Go block has just turned up, it's just hit the Australian market, and there's been other portable power around before in the past. Nobody's done it like this. Typically, there's a couple of ways that you'd go about putting power in the back, which are not as easy as what I'm about to show you. So, the number one way that you would do it, you'd put a Red Arc BC-DC battery charger into a second battery, so you'd wire all that up into the front. If you're savvy, you might spend a day or two doing that at home and mucking around with all that sort of stuff, or you'd end up paying somebody else to do it for you. Then you'd run an Anderson plug all the way into the back here. Then you'd need some sort of display to understand what your battery's doing, how much charge you've got left and all the rest of it. Then you'd need to mount a solar panel. You'd have to hardwire the solar panel into the BC-DC. And it is typically, that is the way that it's done. And that's the way I would still do it if I was building this as a dedicated touring vehicle, but I'm not. I'm not gonna have a fridge in this all the time. The fridge will be coming in and out of it. Hence the reason I've gone with this. So I actually ran home this morning. None of this is mounted, right? So I've just chucked it all in here just to show you what the plan is. I've just run home this morning and I've actually pulled that Red Arc Go block out of my boat. Like literally took the thing straight out of my boat, brought it up here, jammed it in here. So you can see I've got an Anderson plug running from here to the fridge. Now we're waiting for the cradles to come in from Red Arc. So Red Arc have got a new product coming, which is a mounting cradle for the Go block. So I'll have a mounting cradle fastened into the back of this and another cradle fastened into my boat. So when I want to take the truck away for the weekend, or even if I'm towing the big boat, on the trip on the way out there, I can have the Go block powering the fridge or whatever I want to power in the back of the truck. Then I can arrive, put the boat in the water. I can literally pick this thing up, weighs 18 odd kilo. It's 100 amp hour lithium inside there. It's got Anderson coming out, cigarette plugs and all the rest of it. So that there has been designed or set up in the back of the Ram truck. And I'm actually going away this weekend. So once we turn this camera off, I'll mount this up properly and mount the fridge up properly, because I am taking this thing away. And I can run the Dometic 75 litre fridge straight in the back. Another really, really cool thing, which actually somebody posted on my Instagram last night. See this little window in the back here? If I turn that fridge around the other way, we can literally slide that window open, grab a beer out the back. And how comfortable would that be? It'd be like being in, you know, some exotic, like, anyway, you get the picture. So 75 litre Dometic. I find that the 75 litre is really the perfect size for everything. That's what we run in our X3 camper trailers. They are a dual zone, so you can run freezer on one side, fridge on the other, or you can do both freeze, both fridge. So check that out. I'll put some straps in there, tie that down. And that's fundamentally how we're gonna roll. Because look, let's face it, you know, you can spend $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 on a power setup in your vehicle, but if your vehicle is a daily driver, how much use are you gonna get out of that? And that's where the Red Arc Go block really comes into its own. Portable power, portable fridge. I can whip all of this stuff out in 2 seconds without having to de-wire anything, and I've still got the full use of the tub. So we might actually talk about the tub there before we close this out. It's got like a rhino lining or a Raptor coating on top, heaps of tie down points. I'll talk about this a little bit later on, but you can see this little camera. You've got a camera up here and a camera in the tailgate. You can put this on cargo mode, so whilst you're driving, you can have that displayed on the screen inside, or you can look at your trailer from the rear camera, then you've obviously got reverse as well. Interior, let's get in there and have a look.
Ooh, that's a big flex. Stock going up like 6x. You see the drip, wrist wet. Heard somebody say that I ain't made a hit yet.
All right, inside the 2500, this is hands down, and I honestly mean this, hand on heart, this is the most comfortable car that I've ever owned by a long shot, not even by a little bit. The biggest thing that you're gonna notice as soon as you jump inside one of the new models of Ram truck, so whether that's a DT 1500 or this DJ 2500, the dash is completely different, like completely different. It's a lot more modern, it's a lot more user-friendly, but the big standout thing is this brand new 12-inch screen. When I first got this, probably for the first 2 days, I didn't struggle with it. I didn't really like it, to be honest with you. I liked buttons. All right, so where is the air conditioning? Where's the button for it? Like, I want to turn my air conditioning on. I want to turn my demister on. It wasn't until really like a couple of days into it that I noticed that what they've done is they've put all of the electronic stuff into the touchscreen that you don't need on a day-to-day basis. But they've put in all of these soft buttons all the way around the screen for all the things that you do need on a day-to-day or a driving basis, right? You're driving along down the highway, you're towing your 8-ton, trailer or whatever. You don't want to be going in and flipping screens and taking your concentration off to find, to turn your fan speed up or to turn your temperature up or down. Your fan speeds are right here, your temperatures are right here, your demister's right there, aircon on and off. All of your towing buttons are down here. So I can turn the exhaust brake on or off, I can change my towing mode, and I can turn my parking sensors on or off. And like anything, once you kind of get that muscle, what do they call it? Muscle, I don't know, whatever that word is. Ooh. Once you get used to where everything is, it's kind of all there. Everything that you need is on the steering wheel. It's very similar to the last model, so I felt at home straight away from here. You've got volume controls, you've got track controls for your radio, and then you can scroll through all of your screens, all your vehicle info screens, so tyre pressure display, your towing modes, your trailer length, like I was talking about before, and it's all displayed right here quite simply. It's an electronic engagement gearbox, so you don't actually have a shifter, you don't have a stick. You've got little buttons here, so you've got four-wheel drive high, two-wheel drive, which you run around day to day, four-wheel drive low. But let's quickly have a look through this screen. So if you see this, we've got a backup camera, so I've got one in the tailgate, or I can go to the cargo area, like I said before, and I can see my fridge, I can see my, my go block in there, everything that's going on in there. Again, really handy feature. Another thing here that it took me a little while to get used to, it's a digital rear view mirror. It's completely digital. So for the first couple of days, I'd have the kids in the back, and I normally, Mia's in the back, and we normally talk when we're driving along. I actually can't see her, but because it's electronic, it's running off the camera, you get so much more unobstructed view. But if you don't like it, or you do want to see what's going on in the back, you can actually flick that there, and that turns it off, turns it into a normal mirror. I can adjust that, and I can talk to the kids in the back or see the kids in the back. Really handy feature. You can turn the dimming up and down when you're driving at night, so that's really cool. Let's talk about my favorite feature though in the 2500, and this is legit my favorite. I use it all the time. Boom, 6-seater, bench seat up front. I have a family of 5, so me, Sarah, Christian, Ashton, Mia. It's more than often than not, it's Mia is the culprit. She always has a friend with her, always has a friend with her. So generally speaking, it'll be Sarah, Mia rolling up the front with me. When we're rolling around town on the weekends, we're going out to do something with the family. 6-seater, again, it's one of those things, you wouldn't miss it if you didn't have it. But once you do have a 6-seater, you realise just how often that you use it. Now, newly installed, Steve actually just threw this in yesterday, like I said before, is the brand new GME XRS 390C. Really easy reaching position. I'll quickly touch on the XRS, again, look at some other loading up videos. The big thing about this new model is the GPS now is inside the handset, so you can ping your location to other people that you have in your convoy, which is a really, really handy feature, so check that out. Another really good thing about the XRS units, the thing I love about them the most, there's no remote speaker to put in anywhere. The speaker is in the handpiece, so when you're talking to someone, you've got the speaker right there. You don't have to, you know, turn everything down and put the windows up. So that's something to consider there as well. What we're gonna do right now is we'll jump into the back seat. I'll show you in the back of the Ram 2500, because another big consideration with these things is family touring. When it comes to family touring, you cannot beat one of these trucks. I'll get in the back seat and I'll show you exactly the reason why. All right, coming into the back, before I do, the handiest feature of the rear of the cabin has got to be this, right? Flip the seat up, fold these two little things out, fold that forward, dead flat floor. Now, if we go back to the Fink episodes, the recent Fink, Mia and Sarah actually slept in the 2500.
Darling, it's race day. You can see we folded the seats up and we made a bed in the back there for Mia last night. So with the bench seat in the front of the 2500, Sarah did the same. How was it? Was it okay, babe?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was really good?
I'll test it out for another hour.
Okay.
Not what it's designed for, but definitely big enough to be able to do it. For me, on a daily basis, this is exactly how I have my back seat set up. I never have the seats down or always have the seats up and I have this false floor. That just comes in, it's so handy. Again, it's one of those things, if you haven't had it, you probably wouldn't miss it, but once you've had it, you really can't live without it. The actual room in the back of this thing, for 4 people, 4 grown men, long distance touring, you just can't beat this thing, eh? There is just nothing else like it. There's 2 microphones on the driver's side. There's microphones in the rear as well. And it's all of these little things, these little features, and it just makes life so much better. Just had a look on the dash. This has done 6,500 kilometers now. I've owned this vehicle now for, I'm gonna say 7 or 8 weeks, I think I've had this for. I'm in love with it. I literally am in love with it. And I don't want to do a full build on this. It's still, you watch the channel, you know the vehicles I've got. I've got some really capable off-road trucks, and I don't want to turn this into just another, you know, another hardcore four-wheel driving or touring truck. I'm at the stage in my life now, I want the nice stuff as well. I want a nice car that I enjoy driving on a daily basis. But if you know the other side of me, don't believe everything that I just said, because it might happen in the future. So guys, look, I think that's about where I'm gonna finish with the run through. I'll be here in the back seat in my brand new Ram 2500, all iced out, the mall crawler spec 2500 from Patriot Games. Who would have thought? Would you have believed it? Get your ass into a Ram dealer, go and check them out. If you're considering a 1500 as well, a little bit more cash in this thing here, but for the right person doing the right things with it, i.e. if you're buying it as a workhorse, touring, or a tow vehicle, you definitely need to consider the brand new Ram DJ 2500. Well, no, you know what I will do? I might just turn the ignition back on, hit this little button up here and see if my theory's correct. There goes my window. So I've got to check, will this actually... Yep, that works. You know what? It is Friday. Just real quick, here's what happens when you rock up to Patriot Campers in a Chevy with stupid number plates. So mate, sounds good. Oh. That's awesome.